So, what do you want to do?
I don't know. We don't have an intro. Semanaweo.
Jubadinidu.
Jumanawa. Wanaweo.
Semanawuno. Hazinu.
Semanawoohoo.
It's on the whoa.
No way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Glaziar Gaming podcast. This is a big episode. We're in the double digits. That is 2, for those of you that don't know. 2 digits, because this is episode 10. This is the Glaziar Gaming podcast. What was that?
I said a 10. That's what a lot of people rate us.
Yeah, 10 out of 100. Mm-hmm. I was right with you there. I am Mychal Glaziar.
I'm Joe Gamble.
And we are here to talk to you about what we always talk about. We got some sports. We got some Marvel for you. And we do have some other fun topics. We have some other entertainment news, like movie news and video game news.
We change it up from typically our lineup is NBA, NFL, Marvel. That's our go-tos. We got a little bit of Minnesota section. We're actually gonna change it up. We're gonna throw that right in. It's either gonna be at the end of the NBA, end of the NFL. We got a little bit of MLB.
Yeah, it's our first. I think it's outside of Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
this is our first baseball topic.
Yep, and then we go a little bit back to competitive eating. A little bit.
Yeah, yeah. The important Joey Chestnut, the MVP of my life.
The GOAT.
The only arguably true GOAT.
Yeah.
I knew what you were doing there. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, so we're not going to have that fun section or local section at the end. I do have a fun quote to throw at you when we're done with this. I think you'll all enjoy. Let's get right into it. We started today. We do have some basketball news, but instead of NBA news, WNBA news.
Yeah, we got one little. Actually, let's just do the one NBA thing right off the bat.
One NBA, sure.
Yeah. So Giannis, much like he's following in Patrick Mahomes' footsteps a bit, where
Aaron Rodgers too.
Oh yeah, yep, Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes bought a portion of the Kansas City Royals, right? So he's
and the Kansas City
owner.
Basketball team.
Yeah, and the Kansas City basketball team. And Giannis did that.
Yeah, Giannis has purchased a portion of the Milwaukee Brewers. When I was growing up, the Brewers were good and a team the Twins were worried to play, and it was a rivalry, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and it was. I feel there was the guy who was on the Brewers that went to the Yankees. Blanking on his name, but he was the guy.
I know there was a guy for the Brewers. The only guy that I can really. Oh no, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's gonna bother me though. But yeah, he ended up going to the Yankees, and he was the one on the Brewers that I was like, okay, that's somebody you got to worry about.
Who doesn't have a stint with the Yankees though?
Yeah, that is when you can buy your players. But anyway, he bought a portion of the Brewers. I'm hoping that usually when a player buys a portion of another team, they have no impact on it. It's really just a business point of making money. Aaron Rodgers doesn't tell the Milwaukee Bucks go get Drew Holiday. He's not the reason they got Drew Holiday. So it's not like Giannis purchasing the portion of the Brewers is going to do anything, but I think it's cool news.
Yeah, I think it's more of a devotion to the city.
Yeah, he signed the extension before the season started. That was his way of saying I'm staying in Milwaukee, and now this is just more of not only am I staying in Milwaukee, but this is my second home outside of Greece. So I thought that was really cool, and that's our only NBA news. But we also have WNBA news. We had some last week with Breanna Stewart's baby, but this week, Kristi Toliver, who was a former 2-time champion with the LA Sparks, she is now the assistant coach of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
And she was with the Washington Wizards as I believe it was a coach's consultant or assistant.
Sure.
But yeah, now she's the assistant coach for the Mavericks. I can't remember if it was Luka earlier this year that said he wanted more women involved in coaching, but if it was him, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I just think in general.
Oh no, he was flirting with the female ref.
Oh,
that's what it was. Never mind. That was my bad. So I don't think anybody on their team is pressured to get females into the coaching staff.
Yeah,
but they got her. I think this is a good move.
Yeah, I think it's a good move as well. Following a little bit in Becky Hammond's,
for sure.
shadow, but
she doesn't have pop to be under.
Yeah. She's got a new coach.
If anything,
Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I think it's Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
If anything, Pop probably wouldn't have given her as much freedom. Like Kristi probably has more freedom. So, pretty cool. And I just wanted to talk about that because I thought it was a good step forward.
Do as much as we can. Yeah, do as much as we can to showcase the.
And players are wanting it. Players have said they'll respect former female players, and just like men who work their way up. If a woman has worked her way up through coaching, they'll respect her because they know the experience.
You saw kind of a wave in the NFL. There was a lot of like assistant coaches when it came to females representation. Yeah. But Becky Hammond's kind of like the face of.
And there was the first female ref in preseason as well. So, getting some more equality into a traditionally masculine environment that was a little bit too much. So, the last little bit of WNBA news is that Sylvia Fowles from our very own Minnesota Lynx might be the greatest basketball player ever.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan,
she's amazing.
Step aside. She's had her 4th 2020 game. I think that's pretty cool because I remember when Russell Westbrook did it, it was a big deal because he dedicated it to Nipsey Hussle.
Sure.
So that had its own thing. So I don't want to discredit that, but having 4 2020 games is pretty insane. The Lynx have always been good. It's nowhere near like their triple all-star.
When Maya Moore left, it kind of
fell apart.
It was tough.
And Lindsey Whalen. Yeah. It's kind of like when we lost all of them, it went down. But Sylvia Fowles is bringing us back.
Simone Augustus.
Maybe they can tank for Paige Beckers and then.
Let's hope so.
But yeah, so she.
Sylvia Fowles is
a bright spot in a fallen Lynx team.
Yeah, she's real good.
We did have. I guess we did have some other like basketball news that wasn't NBA news. J.R. Smith, who I believe he's enrolled at North Carolina A&T. He is going to be playing for their collegiate golf team.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I don't know if weed is legal in North Carolina, but
I'll learn today.
J.R. Smith will
and can he golf without a shirt on? That's also important to know because he always
they have to have etiquette in college. You have to have, I think it's collared shirt, either buttoned or no buttons. They have to have khaki or dress pants, non-tennis shoes. I can't remember the full dress code, but I think college golf has.
Sure. It's going to be a weird transition. Can you have Hennessy?
Hennessy and weed was going to be necessary. Can he have that in his golf cart? If yes, I would put my money now on him winning the first collegiate tournament.
Okay. What is his caddy just like a chauffeur? Like his caddy just kind of like gonna have like a cooler?
No.
With him,
so his cart or his bag is on wheels, and he can control it himself.
Okay.
So he doesn't even need a caddy.
Got it.
I think he's just gonna have his boys with him. So, another little bit. So Emoni Bates, number 1 prospect since he was young.
Oh yeah, he's got that like almost like Kevin Durant frame. He's like
like Brandon
slim.
Ingram, sort of. Chet Holmgren.
Slim, crazy, athletic.
But yeah, Emoni Bates is athletic, while Chet Holmgren isn't quite as athletic. But Emoni Bates, I heard him today, was compared to Trevor Lawrence. Like, you don't have to see him even play one game to know he's going to be good.
He doesn't have the hair as Trevor Lawrence does.
Right. I'm sure he could grow it out, but wouldn't be as long and flowing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be luscious.
But a few days ago, it was leaked that he started a student email at Memphis, and it was confirmed he is committing to Memphis. I can't remember the other name of the player, but they also got the top center or forward who's committed to Memphis. Sure. So Memphis is going to be a very good team in the NCAA tournament. So I think the only
Gonzaga, they got Chet. So
all right, so it'll be Gonzaga, Memphis, and then you'll see some teams like Wichita State and some of those guys that always get a lot of seniors back. Right. Loyola Chicago. Yeah. You'll get those people will go in it, but Memphis is probably going to be one of the favorites.
Sure.
Duke's probably going to fall off without Krzyzewski.
Yeah. Is this his last season or his last season?
Last season was his last season, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but pretty sure. And then I guess last little bit of basketball overall news was Cat is an 87 in 2K.
Yeah, they had the Ronnie 2K, the ratings guy, show up there, and he asked Cat what he thought, and Cat guessed he would be an 88. So Cat was pretty.
He ended 2K21 as an 89. So, which I believe D'Lo ended as like an 85, and Anthony Edwards ended as an 80. So, we got 3 80s on our starters, but Cat used to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
But until they start winning, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's talented enough to be in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
If your play doesn't result in wins, nobody's going to think highly of you.
I mean, I'd like to see if he has the highest 3-point rating out of the bigs.
Yeah.
Because he should.
Yeah, so. He should. He should have the highest 3-point out of all bigs, and I would also like to see Jimmy. But if they're gonna be that harsh on guys that don't perform or get to big moments, Jimmy Butler's rating should go down. Ben Simmons should go down.
Yeah.
And then Jared Vanderbilt from the Minnesota Timberwolves had a workout where he looked like he had been working on his game.
Yeah, a lot of dunks, which is kind of his game.
You compared him to Siakam.
Yeah, I just think he kind of reminds. Siakam probably has a better shooting touch. Probably a better offensive skill set, but in regards to like...
Is Siakam left-handed or is he right?
I don't know, but it was weird watching that video because I didn't know that Vando was left-handed either. But he had soft touch on those jumpers and a little bit of
I love soft touch.
Dribbling skills.
Yeah.
So.
I love soft touch with my balls. It's really necessary for high-level play.
Yeah. I like when professional athletes are the ones doing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's it for basketball news. Quick basketball news stuff today. We know it's not super popular, so we can move right along. We do have some NFL and just football overall news. Biggest movement overall in the league was Sony Michel got traded to the Rams. So the Rams, Cam Akers, we talked about in the previous episode that he tore his ACL. Or MCL.
Achilles.
He had a major leg injury. Would have put him out for the season, so they've needed a running back. People talked about Todd Gurley. They talked about Devontae Freeman before he got signed to the Saints. And they've talked about Adrian Peterson. So they've talked about some other people that they could have gone there. And instead, they traded for Sony Michel. Because if you haven't been paying attention to the Patriots this preseason, they have 3 to 4 starting running backs on their roster.
James White.
They have a rookie who I'm blanking on his name who had 2 touchdowns in both the first and second preseason game, including a 90-yarder or something. So they're good. They're set. They didn't need Sony Michel, and he was falling behind in the rotation. And when Bill Belichick decides he doesn't want you to play anymore, you're done. So they traded them. It was going to be 2 late-round picks, but in order to make it work, it had to get updated.
There's some legality issue with that.
I think part of it is his salary, because they do a projected salary, I believe, for picks, and the Patriots are pressing that salary cap. So my guess is they had to get a certain amount of salary cap projection from picks. So it ended up changing. Instead of I think it was going to be a 6th and a 6th or a 6th and a 7th, it is now a 2023 4th round pick and a 2022 6th round pick. So the Patriots even got a better turnout than originally, but the Rams needed a running back, which now they got a running back that actually fits their system really well. I love the Sony Michel pick. For people that want to talk about fantasy football, Sony Michel jumped way up my charts. I would put him...
When he got traded?
Yeah. Another Travis Etienne is most likely out for the season. James Robinson, I had him on my fantasy team last year.
Who had him last year? You picked him up in free agency, though.
I drafted James Robinson because Leonard Fournette was
Washington guy?
Antonio Gibson I also drafted late.
Really?
Yeah, dude. My draft was very good last year.
Mine was int.
But, because I figured that Antonio Gibson was going to start, because I had heard rumblings that he was going to, and then Leonard Fournette I knew was looking, they were going to move, and I was like...
I'm surprised I didn't get anything for him.
Yeah, so I figured, I was like, I'm going to get James Robinson, because I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be the starter, and...
That turned out good.
Gibson, I had Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, and James Robinson as my triple threat, and I had Christian McCaffrey, it's just he didn't play. Yeah. But if he would have played, I wouldn't have known who to play. I would have been able to trade one of those guys, which I've never done a trade. Yeah. So
I feel like if you did a trade, it would be with us.
Or
it would probably get vetoed.
Oh, I've traded with my dad once. I gave him I gave him a tight end for T.Y. Hilton once. So.
Yeah. I feel like we would do a trade and be super fair, and we'd get vetoed.
Probably. But yeah, anyway, Sony Michel and James Robinson should jump up your fantasy football boards, just not for... James Robinson is for a negative reason, and Sony Michel is for a very, very positive one and a negative one.
Yeah.
The other big movement that happened, in football, that's what I thought of at first. I was like, what is wrong with my brain? Like, if I'm thinking of movement, my first thought shouldn't be of poop, you know?
That's my first thought always.
Everson Griffen. So normally this would be in like our Varking segment, but instead of putting
We're not talking Sims anymore.
Instead of talking about it in our Varking segment, we're going to talk about it in the NFL because it made some national news. Ian Rybolt was talking about it as well. Everson Griffen is back with the Minnesota Vikings. It's very exciting. He had some beef with Kurt,
back in January.
But
January, February.
They're over it apparently. He called him ass, but, you know, it's all right.
Which is what 90% of the Vikings fan base thinks.
Most of the Vikings fan base don't like Kirk Cousins anyway. Yeah, Kurt anyway.
Yeah.
Kurt is not back for them.
Yeah. We're waiting for Kurt to be back. That's over.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Other than that, he will be fourth string. Daniil Hunter, Stephen Weatherly, and DJ Wanham.
Yeah, they said yes. He situational third down pass rush was kind of like his niche.
Yeah, yep.
I think going forward
because he can still get sacks and commit pressure. Yeah. And it's proven that with him and Daniil on the field at the same time, you're gonna deal a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But we've never seen Michael Pierce, Daniil, Dalvin, and another rusher all at once with potentially
Sheldon Richardson's there for pass rushing.
I keep forgetting Sheldon Richardson's there, but he's going to be playing D-tackle, I think.
Yeah. So I think, Pierce is going to be the run stuffer, and Dalvin Tomlinson's going to be the rusher.
Dalvin is most Pierce is probably going to be playing a lot of nose, but he's going to have to play a lot, too. Yeah. So we're definitely, if anybody questioned whether or not we'd move to a 3-4 in the future, that's not happening. We are at 4 down line. We have an insane... People
There's
think
depth
that
too.
I saw the Vikings were projected to be a bottom top, 25 was their peak projection for defense. I would hammer the over if I were betting that they're going to be better than that.
25. We were like 29 last year.
We were 29 last year, and we had 9 opt-outs and injuries. So expect the Vikings to get a lot better, not because of Everson Griffen, but because of the total amount of talent coming back. But Weatherly, Hunter, Wanham, Richardson, Dalvin, Pierce, they're all going to be ahead of the pecking order than EG, but he'll be in there to do pass rush.
I think kind of as like a Brian Robeson role.
Right, where he occasionally guards the flat if we want to disguise a blitz.
It's like a stand-up D-tackle, Robeson was too. So
near his end of his career, for sure. But both of them also played outside linebacker in rare, like nickel sets, or dime sets, not nickel sets. And then... Michael Pierce, speaking of him, he is giving Everson Griffen 97 and is going to switch to 78 because he says Everson has earned that over his time in the league and as a Viking. So Everson's going to be the same number he was when he originally played for us. And
I think Michael Pierce said that was his rookie number, was 78, is what I want to say. Or where he was when he was at school.
Yeah, I think it was when he was in college because I thought he was also 97 in the Giants. I just think it's funny. We got Linval after his rookie contract, and we got Dalvin Tomlinson and
Michael Pierce. Yeah.
All right, sorry. So Michael Pierce when he was with the Ravens. I was thinking Dalvin.
Correction. Yep.
But correct. Correction.
Another Vikings defense news: Barr is expected to miss game one. Miss game one
for.
No, I don't know.
Some unknown injury.
Yeah.
So
but it's not a tweak. He said it's not a tweak. It's a personal reason, is what Zimmer said.
Okay. So not a tweak.
Yeah, so he's hopeful.
Speaking of Vikings linebackers, along with Anthony Barr, Chazz Surratt was playing special teams this preseason and was killing it. So I was really worried about him. When we drafted him, I texted you.
He's small.
And I was like, that doesn't seem like a Zimmer guy. Like, Zimmer likes the athletic.
He's crazy athletic. He
played quarterback in high school.
Get around really fast. He's got the physical tools to be kind of like a Kendricks, be all over the place.
Right.
But size-wise, he's
Eric Wilson.
He's reminded of like Shaq Thompson almost.
But Shaq, Shaq played safety as well. Like they expected he'd be able, like Chazz Surratt could probably play a box safety.
Right.
But he's a coverage linebacker,
right.
And they needed to replace Eric Wilson, and Eric Wilson was our best coverage linebacker outside of Kendricks.
We also talk about since we're just bringing up linebackers, Nick Vigil's been playing really well.
Yeah, yep.
So
he's a solid outside linebacker, but he reminds me of like the Schobert types where his plays come from being smart and in the right spots. His plays don't come from natural ability.
Like Kendricks being able to just fly.
Right, or like when Anthony Barr is in the wrong spot, a lot of the time the fact that he's 6'6", he's able to overcome that by jumping.
Or when Cooper Kupp he's guarding Cooper Kupp on a drag.
Right. You have to be able to...
Gets exposed.
Yeah. So I think Chazz Surratt will be able to cover guys in the slot and like double, like he'll be the guy that an offensive chip block or a defensive chip block where the guy comes on a drag and within that 5 yards, Chazz just gives him a quick bump or tight end. Like if you want to say we're matching up against the Chiefs, Chazz is going to be the one that is the double coverage with Kendricks or
on Kelsey.
Mackenzie Alexander on Kelsey.
Yeah.
So Chazz is showing a lot of potential. He's obviously not a starter yet, but in my opinion, that's the direction they're going with him.
Vigil's got that third linebacker
Absolutely,
spot right now.
He will not be Surratt will not be starting,
barring some injury,
like Barr not being in it. However, the reason we bring up the fact that he was starting gunner all preseason or in the last preseason game was because there's been a lot of notable gunners on the Vikings who became major starters. People talk about it all the time, and it's just not hammered home enough or not accepted enough. Special teams is probably the most important group. Like, your punter sets your field position every time you punt. Your kicker determines whether or not you win games a lot of the time. Vikings fans know that the most.
Yeah.
Your kicker is important. Your kicker is the difference between determining whether or not you need a field goal late or he misses an extra point, and now you need a touchdown to win a game.
Yeah.
Like, your kicker is important, your punter is important, your returners help with your field position. Like, that's major. And then your gunners are the next. Like, if you don't have good gunners, the other team ends up with an amazing field position every time. The Vikings have had Trey Waynes, Jarius Wright, Audie Cole. Saints fans, you might know Audie Cole. He used to start for you guys. Anthony Harris, Jaron Kearse. All were guys that were gunners and weren't playing as starters that became starters for multiple seasons and potentially like top of the tier starters for us. Tartar sauce.
And vice versa. Another notable gunner that we've had was a starter, Cordell Patterson.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're so like good. You can get past people and run down the field. So we're gonna make you a gunner. And he was.
And a lot of time, he didn't even have to tackle them because he got around people and got to them so fast that they would call a fair catch. Yeah. Even if in my opinion, he wasn't a strong tackler. I love Cordell Patterson,
right.
But he wasn't a strong tackler. But people were so scared because he was already there. He's going to take you down even if he's not a strong tackler.
And special teams, in regards to the Vikings, looked horrible in Week 1. But looked a much, much better Week 2.
And Chazz Surratt had one play where they didn't call a fair catch. The second that ball was caught, Chazz knocked him. The guy rolled backwards, like did a backflip on the ground.
Kenne's hurt right now, but Amir Smith-Marset and KJ Osborne have been doing really well.
And Amir Abdullah has been doing well. Yeah. But sorry to fans that like him. Amir Abdullah is, in my opinion, a perfect example of a practice player. Every time in preseason and in practice, you hear about how great he is.
Has A.J. Rose shown... If they're going to keep 4 running backs, has A.J. Rose showed enough to be that 4th?
I don't think you keep 4 running backs. Like, your 4th running back can be C.J. Ham.
Yeah.
Like, they got rid of...
A.J. Rose is a practice squad player.
Right, so put Rose on the practice squad. They cut Boone too early for some people,
Boone's
but Boone never did anything.
Yeah.
So, like, in my opinion, Abdullah hasn't shown what we need from a returner because Osborne stepped up there.
Yeah, you want a pass-catching running back? Got Dalvin, who's one of the best in the league. Madison can do it. He's a good blocker, but that's why Kenny's here.
So Amir, like, you always hear great things about him, and I think he's awesome off the field. I need to see it in game. Every time he gets the ball in game, I swear
it's underwhelming.
A 2-yard carry.
Yeah,
it's just never good.
Why would you have him run the ball when you could have Dalvin Cook or Alexander Madison on the ball?
Or even a potential spark from Kenne when he's in there.
Yeah, Kenne's not... Yeah, he didn't get a lot of carries in college.
When it's not Madison or Cook, we have too many wide receiver weapons. I'd rather have...
Amir Smith-Marset.
I'd rather have Justin Jefferson or BB on a streak.
Yeah.
Or on a sweep. So... I'm sorry, Amir. I like you, but I just
Especially
don't
with the emergence of KJ Osborne. I'd rather have him on a sweep or Amir Smith-Marset with his 90 speed.
Keep an eye out for potentially Amir leaving. I think if the Vikings are smart with their money, they let him go. You mentioned that that Boone was on the Broncos.
I think so, yeah.
Speaking of the Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is now starting over Drew Lock. The other day, somebody tweeted out, project the starters for these 4 teams, because it was like Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance, Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, and one other one. They were all like the big quarterback battles. Mac Jones or Cam Newton. And I said it would be Cam Newton, Drew Lock, Taysom Hill.
Did you say Drew Lock?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Taysom Hill and... what was the 4th team I said?
You said Jimmy G.
Yeah, and then I said Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Jimmy G, we got basically confirmed today he's starting.
Yeah, I think I saw something on K-Fan today, and they were talking about Trey Lance, and they're like, yeah, he had 2 beautiful touchdown passes, and it's like, Trey Lance is the guy when you go to like the YMCA, he's like the dude that is better than everyone.
Right.
And they're like playing against a bunch of amateurs in the gym. That's Trey Lance.
Right, yeah. Like, he's insane. It's just he hasn't played a regular season game of football in 2 years.
If he's in, like, we've brought this up before when we were talking about Jimmy G, and like, would you trust the Niners to beat like the Seahawks team, for like Seahawks team back in the day, or even like now? Do you think he can go toe to toe with Russell Wilson? No.
If it's the current Seattle defense, I think they could go toe to toe, because the Niners can shut down Russell Wilson better than I think.
Who else is that? Rams.
Right. Yeah, I
not gonna do anything against
the Rams. Lost 3 starting DBs.
Yeah, they had Jalen Ramsey
and Aaron Donald. So
yeah.
Aaron Donald's all you need. You have to triple team him, and he still gets through.
Yeah.
But still, Jimmy G, I think he's an obvious start.
I think everyone thought that. Yeah.
I thought Drew Lock was going to start because he was the incumbent quarterback, but then again, I should have thought about the fact that Teddy's getting paid more, and why bring him in if you're not going to have him start.
And you have to remember the fact that Drew Lock is not very good.
I don't think Drew Lock's good. Yeah. I just said who I thought, because I also think Jamie should start over Taysom Hill, but I think Taysom Hill's going to start.
Yeah.
I think Sean Payton has too big of an ego to not start Taysom Hill.
To be like, yeah, watch me make this work. Yeah.
Yep, I think that's just Sean Payton, and he might switch that.
I think Jamie started game 2.
Yep, I think what would be smart is keep Taysom Hill as your gadget guy, but Taysom Hill says, I don't want to be here if I'm not a quarterback.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, but I think Taysom Hill will get the start week 1, and then it genuinely might be Jamie's beyond week 1, right. But I think Sean Payton is going to make sure Taysom starts week 1, which is why I thought that, and I think Cam was going to start no matter what, even with his COVID thing. I think Cam's going to start.
Sure.
Another quarterback battle that happened. Trevor Lawrence is starting over Gardner Minshew.
Big surprise.
Gardner Minshew didn't take a crap for 2 weeks.
Yeah, number 2 is not an option for him.
Exactly. That's why he didn't crap.
He can go to the bathroom now.
He can, because he's on the bench. I think since you're not playing Gardner Minshew, the Jags need help everywhere.
Yeah.
Their defense is bad. Miles Jack is the best player on their team, and he's not even, like... He's above average, but he's not somebody you
still
say
have,
is a superstar.
I forget his name. It's the end. He's played for the Cardinals. Old.
Calais Campbell?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's on the Ravens.
Okay. He was there.
I thought he was on the Ravens.
Yep.
Anyway, so they have Miles Jack, and they
do have some other trade Gardner
Minshew for offensive line or defense. And if you're not going to do that, if it's just a pick, make sure the pick is 3rd round, at least.
Sure.
There's plenty of quarterback-needy teams, and there's plenty of teams that are probably going to have a quarterback get injured that need a guy. Gardner Minshew is going to be more valuable as the season goes on.
Right.
And he's also a great guy to keep up as your backup, but I think it'd be really smart for the Jags to trade Gardner Minshew, since you're not going to have him start. They have another guy behind them, so... Trevor Lawrence is starting to trade Minshew. Quick jump back over to the Vikings. Wyatt Davis, offensive guard, rookie, who I thought was going to start over Dozier before the season even started.
Yep.
And then it came out that Udo, Ezra, Dozier, and one other player were all starting and getting reps earlier than Wyatt Davis because he's a rookie.
He was hurt for a little bit.
But Wyatt Davis so far this preseason has a Pro Football Focus rating. For those, just a heads up, I don't like Pro Football Focus. I think it's like the Rotten Tomatoes movie reviews. Like, people see a Rotten Tomato review and they immediately decide whether or not a movie's good based off that review. People look at Pro Football Focus, see a number, and assume a player is good.
Right.
However, Pro Football Focus does have Wyatt Davis as an 82.2, which is the number 6 rated guard so far this preseason.
I think it just goes to show like his potential.
It shows to go he's good, especially because Dozier for Pro Football Focus has rated last, and he's even been ranked behind backups.
Yeah, if Wyatt Davis was at an 82 for his time so far, I know in week 1 Dozier was a 29.
Yeah,
so,
and Dozier last year out of 60, there's 64 starting guards.
Yeah, there's like 69 eligible or something.
Yeah, and he was 70, or like he was one below. Like out of 64, he was 65, or out of 69, he was 70. Like he was one worse than all starters. So
he's not good at all.
He's not good, and so he needs to go. And Wyatt Davis clearly needs to just throw him in there,
get some reps. Yeah,
put him. I mean, he's next to O'Neal and Bradbury. That's 2 vets,
right?
So they can take pressure off him and help. CJ Ham is one of the best fullbacks in the league, so if he does get beat, you have a good blocker. So I say throw Davis in there and have your starting lineup be Darisaw, Cleveland, Bradbury, Davis, O'Neal, and Rashad Hill can fill in anytime somebody does poorly or needs a break. Because Rashad Hill can play guard or tackle.
I think that Davis should be the backup for both guard spots.
I agree.
Right, because Udo's.
Oh yeah, and Udo's really good too. So I'm fine if Davis doesn't start, but Davis should be ahead of Dozier by a mile. Yeah. Last football topic.
Oh, yeah.
This is a topic that I had thought of. I was just sitting there. I was on my couch feeding my baby, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, which team doesn't get talked about but probably should? The Oakland Raiders signed...
The Las Vegas
Raiders, 5 years ago, signed a coach to a 10-year deal, which has never
$100 million.
Which has never been seen or done. 5 years in, which is this year, they have yet to make a playoff. The team seems a lot worse than when he started. They traded Khalil Mack. It was reported that John Gruden and the Raiders camp tried to get Khalil Mack from the Bears back.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could have a player like that.
Yeah, and apparently the Bears laughed and said no, or like didn't even take the call. Smart, considering Khalil Mack. Even the reason Khalil Mack's numbers have dropped is because they double him and triple him.
Yeah, if he's in the game, you have to respond to
Which
him.
is, like, the Bears have a really good defense, but part of the reason why the Bears' other players look so good on paper is because Khalil Mack's taking the pressure. Yeah. It was the same with Michael Brockers and the Rams. Like, the Rams let Brockers go because they knew his numbers were a little bit elevated being next to Donald and Robert Quinn on the other side of him. But, so they asked for Khalil Mack back. They said no. So the Raiders, so he's admitting the first move he made when he got there was a mistake. And then he moved to Amari Cooper, who's now one of the highest paid wide receivers.
Can you name a Raiders wide receiver?
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, it's outside of the guy they drafted last year.
I mean, Darren Waller. Who's not a
wide
wide receiver.
Name a wide receiver.
Hunter Renfrow? Isn't he a Raider?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's a Raider. Clemson wide receiver.
He's a white dude.
Yeah. Yep. He burned Jalen Ramsey in practice.
Yeah.
In their dual practice. But anyway, I was thinking, if the Raiders don't make the playoffs this year, even if it's wild card and they lose first round, but if they don't even do that, if they don't even make the playoffs, would you fire Gruden? This would 5 years into a 10-year contract. And the team has not only not gotten better, if anything, they've gotten worse, and the chemistry within the team has gotten worse. Derek Carr doesn't seem to want to really... he still wants to be there and be a Raider, but he doesn't seem to want to work with the organization anymore. Their late-round draft picks have hit harder than they have yet to hit a first-round pick since they've been there.
Arguably the only noticeable pick they've had is they've had some other ones, but Josh Jacobs is the one that's really turned out.
I'm pretty sure he was a second rounder. He wasn't even a first.
It's not a good resume.
No,
for him or the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are good at all. I think
and they're in a hard division,
so far away from what they were with that 13-3 team.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't think he's.
I just imagine if that Raiders team, if they didn't trade Khalil Mack, because the picks that they got out of Khalil Mack didn't turn into the level of production Khalil Mack brought.
Right.
The picks they got from Amari Cooper didn't turn into the production that you were getting from Cooper.
Yeah.
If you were able to still get Josh Jacobs, because I'm pretty sure that was one of their original picks.
Yeah. It's a different team.
It's a completely different team. And at that point, they had the highest rated offensive line, or a top 3 offensive line.
They were old linemen. But...
Right. And now their offensive line is not great.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. My answer is yes. I would cut Gruden. I would fire Gruden. I was super excited. I thought when they first hired Gruden, I was like, this is super smart. I think Gruden's going to do really well. It's not true.
You never miss, though.
I never miss. Yeah, I don't think Gruden's good. And I think he's kind of destroyed the team from the inside.
Yeah, it's a Tibbs type thing.
Yep. Like
sets them back.
Yeah, a coach that comes in and without the perfect situation, like Tibbs is his best results come from total power and control. Yeah. But with the wrong situation, he still implodes a team.
Yeah.
Same thing with Gruden.
Yep.
That's the football news that we had. We do have a couple other sports news. It came out that eating a hot dog, there was a study that showed eating a hot dog took off 30 minutes. Every hot dog takes off 30 minutes of your life. If that was the case, Joey Chestnut apparently should be dead by the time he was 9.
Yeah.
So just more proof that Joey Chestnut's the best athlete of any generation and every generation.
He's supposed to be dead and he's never living.
So. Yeah, so Joey Chestnut, again, we've said it, I think in 4 episodes now, greatest athlete ever.
Yep.
Joey, if you ever see this, you are welcome on this show. Man, I think
we'd even go to next Nathan's hot dog eating competition.
We will go to Nathan's hot dog eating competition, and we'll have better coverage than ESPN did. I'll tell you that.
I didn't watch it.
ESPN on the record-breaking hot dog the service gave out, and throughout the entire broadcast, it kept cutting out and going back. Like, it was terrible coverage. And when he broke the record, it wasn't even broadcasted because their broadcast went down. So
it's horrible.
Yeah. And then the last thing is some pro video game stuff, because we are TSM fans. We like TSM for League of Legends professionals. They were trying to get in. They were in the playoffs trying to get into the World Championships.
Yep.
They suck. They lost to Cloud9, and
Cloud9's a good team, but just.
I think Hooney is not very good.
I mean, you could get everyone, but get rid of everybody but Spica.
I agree. I think Power of Evil.
Power of Evil did okay.
Can basically go even with whoever he's with. Yeah. And I think that's a value in its own. But Lost is not great.
He looks lost out there.
And Sword Art's
garbage.
Is not artsy or artistic in anything he does. Sword Art needs to go.
Sword Art needs to go.
Sword Art
Lost
or Yellow
needs
Star.
To go.
Sword Art or Yellow Star doesn't, like, you are going even.
I think they made a big mistake getting rid of Broken Blade.
Getting rid of Broken
Blade could take over a game.
And honestly, Haunter on their academy team would be better.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
because you're paying so much for Hooney.
When Hooney is like, when you can get Hooney ahead, Hooney can take over a game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, TSM did really poorly, and I think it's because this is one of the worst rosters they've ever put together. Yeah. I don't know whose decision, if it was Bjergsen, if he had roster control, or if that was all Reginald, but when they brought in Hooney...
Or, Parth.
Yeah. Whatever. This is like a really poorly put together roster.
Shouldn't have let Broken Blade go. Spica was emerging.
Power of Evil is fine. Yeah. I think it would have been smarter to get Tanner time.
Yep.
That would have been more exciting. Spica developed well. Yeah, DeMonte would have been nice. But honestly, some teams have put together like mid laners that have moved bot and vice versa. DeMonte, I pitched it before when we decided that Sven was gone, and then after Sven, I can't remember who it was. They just our bot lane kept doing poorly.
Yeah.
I thought DeMonte, make DeMonte your bot laner. Like, Perks is a terrific bot laner. Caps played bot well.
Sure.
Like, I thought DeMonte could have been top or bot. Like, his mechanics are good enough.
He's a mid laner. He played mid, so
I
really thought we were on the same page there.
So, TSM, poorly built roster. Hopefully it gets better in the future, because this was just a regular season team that fell apart in the playoffs, and all of their weaknesses were shown.
Yeah, I felt for Spica too, because like
I know how he feels.
Clearly, yeah, we do. For this last 2 weeks of league,
you're the only player doing well on your team.
Yeah, and like you're struggling because the rest of your team.
And you have one other person that's at least going even or doing well. Like, we had that Wukong the other day. Like, but we know how that feels, Spica. And oh my gosh, I felt so bad for him too. I couldn't watch the last game. After like 5 minutes into the last C9 game, I had to turn it off. It was bad, and then I saw they got absolutely stomped. So Sword Art got caught 9 times a game, so it doesn't matter. Speaking of League of Legends and video games, been streaming basically every night from 7 p.m. to midnight Central Time. It
hasn't been going well.
Hasn't been going well the past week and a half or so, but it is a consistent and entertaining stream. It's twitch.tv/Glaziar. Feel free to check that out on Twitch, and then YouTube videos and highlights of those streams of both League of Legends and other games like Minecraft and Pokemon go up on the Glaziar Gaming YouTube channel. Feel free to check those out as well. But yeah, we've been playing a lot of League of Legends lately, and it's been really, really fun. We actually have gained a few more viewers. Most recently, gained a couple more followers, and we had a lot of interaction on a couple streams ago, and yesterday we had some. So feel free to stop by. It's actually really fun to get and communicate with you guys. I got to talk about some Pokemon. We talked about some fantasy football. So come along and let's just chat. It's very easy to just chat with you guys while we play, so it'd be super fun to just come hang out with us, and you get like a more live interaction, and it's really entertaining.
Yeah, we're gonna be kind of, like I said, the games have not been going well at all, so we're gonna kind of like flip the reset switch and kind of get back to the basics,
like when we first started.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing a lot of the same champions
to get our mechanics up better, last hitting. Our map awareness is good, so just last hitting, team fighting, and how to carry when your team sucks.
Yeah.
And now that's it for sports, video games, that sort of thing. Thanks for watching this podcast and listening to this podcast. We appreciate you just as much as our Marvel and other viewers and listeners, so thank you. For those on Spotify, this is going to be confusing because it'll be one whole thing. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. There will probably be more sports news as the regular season of NFL shows up, as fantasy football gets started. Our draft is this weekend.
Yep, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday, so we'll let you know how our teams do. We'll give you some free agent updates and stuff. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And thank you very much. Appreciate you so much. GG.
GG.
Alright, so what do you want to do?
This doesn't feel right. It sounds like a dog.